The morning sun rose slowly over the peaceful town of Umuaka, painting the roofs with gold. From the Johnsons' compound, laughter rippled, the kind that made neighbors smile. It was a home alive with warmth. In that home lived Mr. Johnson, his beloved wife, Mama Grace, and their three radiant daughters, Pearl, Precious, and Peace. Mama Grace's voice often led the day, soft and melodic as she sang hymns while sweeping the compound. The girls, still half asleep, would echo her tune as they joined her in the chores. Pearl, the eldest, carried herself with the calm assurance of her mother, a girl who spoke softly but thought deeply. Precious, 13, had her father's quick smile and gentle nature, always the first to make peace. Little Peace, only 10, was the light of the house, full of questions and dreams. Mr. Johnson adored his daughters. He often returned home with gifts, ribbons, beads, and storybooks from the city. In the evenings, he would sit on the veranda, his daughters gathered around him, listening as he told stories of courage and kindness. Mama Grace was the heart of that home, her pots always bubbling with rich soups that filled the air with warmth. She taught her daughters to pray, to forgive, and above all, to hold one another close. Sundays were sacred. By dawn, the girls were dressed in their best, Bibles held to their chests. The sight of them, so united, so happy, was a sermon on its own. But blessings, like morning dew, are delicate things. It began quietly with Mama Grace's sudden fatigue. Her laughter weakened, her step slowed, and the color in her cheeks began to fade. Mr. Johnson called doctors, herbalists, and pastors, but her health slipped away like sand through fingers. The daughters prayed, their small hands clasped tightly. Pearl read Psalm 23 by her mother's bed, while Precious cared for her. One evening, she called her daughters close. "My jewels, promise me you'll stay together, love one another." Her hand found Mr. Johnson's. A single tear rolled down his cheek as he nodded, unable to speak. That night, the house fell silent. When morning came, Mama Grace's bed was cold. She was gone. The funeral came and went like a heavy storm. When they lowered her into the red earth, rain began to fall. After her burial, Mr. Johnson sat often in silence, his once bright eyes clouded with grief. In his loneliness, he began to seek companionship. And so, a woman named Madame Clara came into his life, wearing a beautiful disguise. She was tall and graceful, but her smile was soft and distant, the kind that never quite reached the eyes. Mr. Johnson followed, a faint spark of hope on his face. "Children," he said, "this is Madame Clara. She will be staying with us." The words landed like stones. Pearl managed a small bow. "You're welcome, Ma." At first, the house seemed to breathe again. Clara brought color and movement, and Mr. Johnson smiled more often. But It began with small things. "Your hands are slow, my dear," she'd say to Pearl. "Your mother must not have trained you well." To Precious, she would sigh, "Always talking. A real lady knows when silence is better." And to Little Peace, she offered cold smiles that made the child retreat behind her sisters. Each evening, Clara met Mr. Johnson at the gate, her voice dripping with false concern. "Your daughters are still grieving, poor things." They hardly listened, and when he turned to the girls, it was easier for him to believe Clara's version of the truth. Soon, her word became law. Mama Grace's favorite lilies in the garden had begun to wilt, their color fading. One evening, Peace asked quietly, "Sister, why doesn't Madame Clara smile the way Mama did?" The first real fracture came one Sunday. Clara prepared a feast for guests, but when the guests arrived, she sent Pearl and her sisters to the backyard to eat alone. "It's not proper for children to sit with elders," she said sweetly. Through the thin wall, they heard laughter. Precious blinked back tears. "Papa didn't even ask for us," she whispered. Over the next weeks, the girls' chores multiplied. They scrubbed the floor until their knuckles reddened. They fetched water from the far borehole, while Clara sat on the veranda sipping juice. Behind closed doors, her tone was sharp and cold. "This is my house now," she hissed. "You'll do as I say." Around this time, Mr. Johnson's temper began to change. When Peace broke a plate, he snapped, "You children never learn." Clara would sigh, rub his shoulder, and whisper, "They need discipline, my love. You're too soft." When church women stopped by, Clara would drape her arm around Pearl, her charm a perfect veil. "She's fine, Sister Ngozi. We're managing." One evening, as Pearl rinsed clothes, Precious joined her. "Do you think Papa still loves us?" she asked. Pearl whispered, "Mama said love never dies. Maybe it's just sleeping." Behind them, Clara's satisfied laughter floated from the window. That night, Pearl lay awake. She felt a chill she couldn't explain. The golden days were truly gone. The sun had not yet risen, but the compound echoed with the clatter of buckets. Since Madame Clara came, dawn was no longer gentle. It was a command. "Faster!" Clara's voice rang from the doorway, sharp as the crack of dry wood. "Lazy girls!" "Pearl, you missed a spot. Are you blind?" She struck the girl's shoulder with a broom handle, not hard enough to bruise, but enough to humiliate. From the window, Peace watched. Her laughter had been replaced by a deep, lingering fear that lived in her eyes. "Sister, do you think Papa will ever see what's happening to us?" she asked one night. The man who once carried them on his shoulders now barely looked at them. Clara had mastered the art of poison. "Your daughters don't respect you," she would sigh to Mr. Johnson. "They're wild, just like their mother." And so, when he saw the girls, tired or quiet, he mistook it for stubbornness. He never noticed the bruises hidden beneath their sleeves. The days bled into each other. Clara locked the kitchen after every meal, claiming the girls wasted food. Sometimes they went to bed with empty stomachs. On one such night, Peace began to cry softly. "I'm hungry," she whispered. One Sunday, Clara sent the girls to weed the back garden under the blazing sun. Hours passed before she brought them water, a single bowl for 3. When Pearl reached out, Clara slapped her hand away. The woman stood by, her smile curved like a knife. "You think life is fair. Only the strong survive." That evening, Mr. Johnson returned to find Clara pretending to weep. "They disobeyed me again," she sniffed. When the girls tried to explain, their father's face hardened. "Enough! I'm tired of your excuses." Pearl held her sisters in the dark. For the first time, anger flickered beneath her sorrow, a silent promise that one day they would be free. Sometimes, when the girls prayed at night, she would stand by the door, laughing softly. "You think God listens to children like you?" Her words cut deeper than any whip. Yet the sisters prayed harder, clinging to their late mother's worn Bible. "God sees us," Pearl would whisper. "And if it doesn't?" Precious asked. "Then we'll be the light," Pearl replied. Then came the night of the storm. Rain crashed against the roof, thunder rolling like anger from the heavens. Clara was furious. She stormed into the girls' small room. "Where were you when the rain started?" she shouted. Before they could answer, she struck Pearl with the back of her hand. The blow sent the girls stumbling against the wall. The door burst open. Mr. Johnson stood there. Before truth could speak, Clara ran to him. "They tried to hurt the baby," she cried. Mr. Johnson's confusion turned to rage. "You did what?" he shouted at his daughters. And with that, the last thread of faith between them snapped. The girls sat together under the leaking roof. "We have no mother," Precious whispered, "and our father is lost to us." Pearl looked at her sisters. "Then we'll have to save ourselves." The night they left was the quietest night the house had ever known. The moon hid behind clouds, as if refusing to witness what was about to happen. Precious folded the old wrapper that belonged to their late mother. Peace clutched the small Bible they prayed with each night. Pearl's whisper broke the silence. "We can't stay here anymore. If we do, one of us won't make it." The sisters held hands, 3 shadows bound by love and fear, and opened the door to a world they had never known alone. The road out of town was long and cruel. The girls walked barefoot, guided by the faint glow of distant lamps. They found shelter under a tree when the rain returned, curling together for warmth. In that fragile silence, Pearl thought she saw a figure, a tall, gentle shadow that looked so much like Mama Grace. A sense of calm washed over her. The city was loud and unkind. People stared but rarely helped. Go back to your parents, strangers said. Not knowing home had become a wound. Sometimes they went 2 days without food. Sometimes they found kindness, a woman who gave them bread. But even kindness was fleeting. One afternoon, under the burning sun, Precious collapsed near the roadside. Pearl and Peace dragged her into the shade of an old, unfinished building. Her lips were pale, her breath shallow. For hours they sat beside her, whispering the hymns their mother used to sing. When Precious finally spoke, her voice was no louder than a sigh. Don't cry, Pearl. Mama said God never forgets his children. Pearl held Precious in her arms as her breathing grew softer. A single beam of moonlight fell on her face. Don't stop praying, she whispered. Then she was gone. Pearl didn't scream. She just sat there, rocking her sister's body gently, tears running down her face until dawn. When morning came, she and Peace buried her near a mango tree, marking the spot with a small wooden cross. As they knelt before it, Pearl whispered, "You're free now, my sister, but I'll carry your promise." When they rose, the world felt different. "We'll keep going," Pearl said, taking Peace's hand. And as they walked out of the broken building into the rising sun, the light seemed to follow them, gentle and golden. Though they had nothing left but faith and each other, something unseen walked beside them, a quiet grace that whispered, "You are not forgotten." Morning came like a whisper of mercy. For days, Pearl and Peace wandered, their feet swollen, their clothes torn. One afternoon, when the sun burned fiercely, Peace stumbled and fell near a wooden stall. Her little body could go no further. Pearl knelt beside her, fanning her with trembling hands. "Don't sleep, my love," she pleaded as indifferent faces passed by. Just as despair crept in, a calm voice broke through. "My child, are you all right?" It was an elderly woman with soft eyes. Mama rose. Without hesitation, she lifted Peace into her arms. "Follow me. There's room in my home for both of you." Mama Rose's home was small but filled with warmth. For the first time in months, the girls bathed with clean water and slept on mats here. Peace, weak but alive, smiled faintly as Mama Rose spoon-fed her warm porridge. "You're safe here," she said softly. That night, Pearl sat awake. For the first time, her tears were not from pain, but relief. "Thank you, God. You remembered us." A few days later, Mama Rose took them to a church, where the congregation welcomed them with open arms. At the front stood Pastor Emmanuel, a man whose calm presence seemed to fill every corner. After service, he spoke to Pearl. "Your story isn't over, my daughter." From that day on, he became a father figure to them. Time passed. Pearl studied with fierce determination, her mind sharp, her heart still tender from all she had endured. Peace grew stronger, her laughter returning like sunlight after rain. The sisters became symbols of hope in the church. "We were lost," Pearl would say, But grace found us. Years turned. Pearl became a woman of strength, calm, wise, and radiant with quiet confidence. Peace, now a young lady, sang in the church choir, her voice lifting hearts like wings in flight. Mama Rose, her hair now silver, would watch them. You see, she would say, when God remembers you, even the ashes of yesterday can bloom again. And far beyond the clouds, Precious watched them, her spirit light as the wind, her smile brighter than dawn. Sometimes, on quiet nights, Pearl would feel a breeze brush her cheek and hear a whisper in her heart. You kept your promise. Their lives became living proof of grace, that even when forgotten by men, no one is ever forgotten by God. 20 years had passed. Pearl Johnson now stood tall as a woman whose name carried weight, her catering company feeding hundreds. Peace, her younger sister, was a teacher and choir leader, her voice now filled with gentle power. The scars of yesterday remained, but they had become their strength, not their shame. But far away, in the town they once called home, another story was being written. Madame Clara, once proud, now lived in the shadow of her own deeds. Her son had grown into a man of selfishness, squandering everything and leaving her alone in the same compound she once ruled. Each night, she sat haunted by silence. Sometimes she talked to herself, apologizing to shadows, seeing memories of the faces she had broken. One afternoon, she saw a news report. Local sisters open free orphanage, the Johnson Foundation. She froze. They leave? Tears streamed down her wrinkled face. For the first time in years, she fell to her knees. Oh God, forgive me for what I did. Word of her condition reached the sisters. Pastor Emmanuel visited their office. She's dying, he said softly. She has no one left. Pearl looked at the image. The woman who once starved her, beat her. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then quietly she rose. We'll go to her. Peace stared. Yes, Pearl said. If grace found us when we were lost, who are we to deny it to another? The next morning, they traveled back to the town they had fled as children, every corner whispering memories. When they reached the compound, Madame Clara sat in the doorway, thin as a shadow. Her eyes met theirs, and she covered her face. My daughters, she choked. Pearl knelt beside her, taking her frail hand. We came to pray for you. The old woman broke down, confessing through sobs how jealousy had poisoned her, how she had twisted their father's heart. Behind them, a frail voice spoke, and it took everything from me too. It was Mr. Johnson. When his eyes met Pearl's, he fell to his knees. My children, can you ever forgive me? The air grew still. Pearl reached for him, her eyes glistening. Papa, she whispered, we forgave you long ago. They prayed together. 3 generations bound by pain but freed by forgiveness. The walls that once held screams now echoed with prayer. Madame Clara spent her final days cared for by the very girls she had once despised. When she passed peacefully, the sisters buried her beside their father and mother, whispering, "May your soul find rest." That evening, as they stood by the graves, a butterfly landed on the wooden cross, its wings glowing gold in the setting sun. Peace smiled through her tears. "Do you feel that?" Pearl nodded. "Yes, it's her. It's all of them." And so ended the story of the forgotten daughters. Their tale became a testimony that hatred may build walls, but love will always find a way to tear them down.